Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to go ahead and analyze a game that was played against Love the Bird vs Just Wrecker. If you want me to analyze one of your chess games for free, please let me know and share the game with me. Of course, donations are appreciated. Okay, let's get started. Love the Bird moved the pawn to e4. Again, this is a good move because it opens up lines for the bishop and the queen, and it gets a pawn in the center, and then e5. So this is good. Knight to f3. This is a good move because again it gets the knight in the center. It also attacks the pawn on e5. Knight to c6, bishop to b5, and then pawn to a6. Now this opening is called the Ruy Lopez opening. It's also known as a Spanish game. Okay, good to know. The bishop goes to a4, so that's a good move. And then black decides to move the pawn to b5, and then it's attacking the bishop. Of course, the Bird moves the bishop to b3. So this is standard. And then black decides to go bishop to b7. Okay, let's see what white does. White decides to castle, and I think this is good. And then knight goes to a5. It's attacking this bishop. And then I think it's important to ask questions when you're playing. So you want to ask like, what am I attacking? Can I safely capture a piece? Notice that the knight is attacking this pawn, and it's safe to take it. So I would definitely just take the knight. I'm sorry, take the pawn right now. So this would be a lot better, but Love the Bird decided to move the bishop to d5. Again, I don't really like this move because again, if you can safely take a pawn, go ahead and just take it. Always ask questions like, if I move here, is it safe? Okay, Love the Bird moved here, and then the pawn goes to c6. This is very interesting because now notice this bishop doesn't have good mobility. And so what happens is Love the Bird decides to go back. Okay, that's interesting. And then the knight takes it. Love the Bird decides to take it, the knight with the c pawn. And I wanted to just let you know it's much better to take it with the a pawn. And the reason why is notice that all the pawns, they're all together. And also notice that this rook, it is attacking the pawn on a6. Love the Bird decided to take it with this pawn, and this is not too good because notice that these three pawns, they're in one group, and then there's like this other pawn group here. So again, pawns like to be in big groups, so definitely take it with the a pawn. Okay, so moving forward, black decides to move the knight here, and then it goes to e1. I think in this position I would probably just take this pawn, because if knight takes and knight takes back, then the rook can go here, and if the knight goes back, then this knight can go here. And notice that now this is a discovery, and black is going to lose the queen. So again, in this position, the rook goes to e1. Again, it protects the pawn, but again, in this position, let's just attack. Let's just capture the pawn on e5. Okay, rook to e1, and then pawn goes to c5. Okay, this makes sense because it opens up lines for the bishop. And let's see what white does. Knight to c3. That's interesting. I would still probably take the pawn on e5. Okay, knight to c3, b4. Okay, and it's attacking the knight, and white um decides to move the knight to d5. Okay, and notice the bishop and knight are attacking the knight on d5. Okay, bishop takes, pawn takes, knight takes, and then white decides to take the pawn. So this is good. Notice the rook gets attacking the knight and also checking the king at the same time. And black decides to retreat it. Okay, that's good to know. And then white goes d4. I think that this is a good move because it opens up lines for the bishop, and also you get a pawn in the center. So let's see what happens next. Pawn goes to d6, and then the rook goes to e4. The rook can also just go back to e1, but let's see what happens. See, that's why, because the pawn moved forward. If the rook was on e1, then the rook wouldn't be attacked. But okay, pawn goes to d5. It's attacking the rook, and then the rook goes to g4. I'm not really too sure about this move. Right now, if you notice this rook, it's pinning the knight to the king. Therefore, I would recommend just moving the rook back to e1. It just seems like if the rook goes to g4, notice that this knight, it's no longer pinned. Okay, if you like watching my videos, I do invite you to subscribe to my channel. And again, if you want your game to be analyzed by me, let me know. Of course, donations are greatly appreciated. Okay. Okay, so what happens is rook to g4, queen goes here. Notice it is attacking this rook. Okay, and white decides to go knight to e5, and this is a beautiful move because it attacks the queen and it also defends the rook at the same time. Also notice the queen is also now protecting the rook too. Queen goes here, and then let's see what white does. White decides to go here. I am not too sure about this move because this move, it is passive. You always want to ask, like, okay, what is my opponent attacking? The queen's attacking the knight, also this rook, also this pawn. Can the queen safely capture any pieces? The answer is no. The knight's protecting the rook. This queen is protecting the rook. So I think that pawn to h3, it is very passive. So therefore we want to ask, like, okay, can we safely capture any pieces? But if we notice, like right now, is if the pawn if this pawn takes it, then the queen can just take that knight. So that wouldn't be a good idea. So we want to try to move and make a threat. The best move in this position is to go rook to f4. And notice that the bishop is protecting the rook. So once this queen moves, then notice that this rook or the knight, it can just capture this pawn for free. So that would be really, really good. But let's go back to what actually happened. So pawn at h3 is on the passive side. Knight goes there. Let's see what happens. Whoa. Okay. Okay. So so knight goes there. Okay, that's interesting. And then pawn takes. Okay, so this is interesting. And then I've got some questions. I mean, of course, like, you want to ask, like, can I safely capture any pieces? Notice that this rook can safely just take the pawn on d4. We should just take it, right? Okay, so I'm not too sure about pawn to a3. This is no. we can just safely just take this pawn. But okay, um, okay, pawn goes to a5, and then the bird decides to go here. Yikes, that's a mistake. You always want to ask, if I move here, is it safe? Is it safe to move this knight? And the answer is no, because this bishop can just safely just take the knight. And what happened is the pawn goes to h5. This is crazy. Black should just take the knight for free, right? Okay, so that's what you need to do if you want to get better in chess. You need to ask questions like, if I move here, is it safe? Can I safely capture any pieces? You cannot afford to make these mistakes. But okay, pawn goes here, and notice now, so the pawn is attacking this rook, and then the rook takes this pawn, but here's what needs to happen. Notice that the rook and the knight, they're both being attacked, so therefore we need to try to save both pieces. I would definitely move the rook over to g5. Again, it is safe to do this because of this bishop. Once this queen moves, now we can safely move the knight, right? So that's how you save both pieces. So that's what you want to do. You gotta, if you gotta save, you want to try to save both pieces. Okay. But rook goes here. That's a mistake because now the bishop just took the knight. So okay. What happens now? Okay, so the rook goes here. Okay, so it's attacking the queen, but again, we still need to ask, if I move here, is it safe? The answer is no, because the knight can just take the rook. So this is a mistake. In this position, what I would probably do is, notice that he hasn't even castled. I would go queen to e2 and check the king, right? And notice this queen, it is protecting the pawn on f2. So rook goes here, not safe, and then the rook got captured by the knight. Yikes. Okay. Queen goes to e1, and it checks the king. In this position, one thing we could try to do is we can also try to capture this pawn too. But rook to e1, sorry, queen to e1, it checks the king. Knight goes there, and then pawn to h5. I'm not really too sure about this move. I think in this position, I would probably take this pawn. If bishop takes, then maybe bishop to d2 just to get the bishop out. That's what I would probably do. But let's go back to what actually happened in the game. I don't like pawn to h4 because the pawns, they need to be protecting each other, right? Okay. Okay, pawn goes to g5, and then pawn takes. I think that the bishop should just take it because this bishop hasn't even moved yet. But okay, pawn takes. Rook goes there. Okay, that's interesting. Bishop goes there. Okay. King goes here. Notice that this knight, it's no longer pinned. Okay, that's interesting. Rook goes there. This is difficult. Okay, knight goes to g5, and then after that, rook takes bishop, and this is a mistake. Do you understand why? If you notice right now, notice the rook, the knight, and this pawn, they're all on the same line. This pawn is pinned. And so the problem with this move is, well, just like you're moved here, But do you see the winning move? The best move is knight to f3. Um, Again, this is a knight fork. It's the knight's attacking the king, the queen, and this bishop, and the rook. It's pinning the pawn to the king, so therefore it's not. So that means this pawn cannot capture the knight right now. So this is very devastating for white. So in this position, I think the best bet is probably to go king to h1. So the rook is not on the same line as the king. Okay, but let's go back. Let's see what happened. So rook takes bishop. Rook goes to e8. Queen goes here. And then queen goes there. Okay, that's interesting. Let's see what happens next. So again, we need to ask if I move, like, what am I attacking? Notice the queen and the bishop. The queen and bishop, they're all on the same line as this knight. So this bishop can safely just take this knight, right? Right. So, but anyway, rook takes. Okay. Yep. Knight goes here. It checks the king. Notice again the rook. It is pinning this pawn to the king, so that means this pawn cannot capture the knight. King goes here, and then queen goes here. So this is very interesting because notice the rook and the queen, they're all on the same line, and black is threatening checkmate. Okay, so bishop goes there. Rook goes here, and this is very interesting. The bishop, it's pinning the rook to the king. And then this is a mistake. We always want to ask if I move here, what is my opponent going to do? What is my opponent attacking? Again, this is a mistake because the queen can go here, and then that would be checkmate. So in this position, what I would probably do in this position is I would probably just take the rook with the bishop, and once this king takes it, then this pawn can just capture the knight, and white is actually doing okay in this position. So I hope that you found this video to be very helpful. I hope you like watching my videos. If you would like to support my channel, all you need to do is to go click the support my channel button. On this page, then you can give a donation. Thanks in advance if you do that. If you like watching my videos, then I also invite you to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.